ChadArmesTV. We are back with another dope interview series, man, and I'm excited to be sitting down with these two really cool people, man. This is Relentless Hope. We've got David and Jonna.
Yeah.
And
What's up?
I'm looking forward to y'all hearing their story, man. This is something that we've been talking about for a few months. We scheduled it a few months out, and y'all are actually based out of Fort Myers, Florida.
Yep, from Florida. Yes, sir.
So y'all made the trip up to old Nashville.
Yeah, we love coming to Nashville. It's like coming home.
Yeah. So what was the trip? Was the trip good?
Yeah, besides TSA filling me up, but we do a lot of traveling too, you know, just different things. And we're for the last 5 flights, 5 for 5 TSA, out of every people in there. I see her get pulled over. I'm like, I'm next, but it's pretty good pat down. I felt pretty nice. But,
he got you pretty good.
It's a little action. There's more action at the airport than here last night. No, I'm just playing. No, but it was a great flight, man. It was a blessing.
That's cool, man. So we're gonna basically go through y'all's story, man. Y'all have y'all are artists, but y'all are more than artists too. You want to kind of explain a little bit, give like a Cliff Notes, just kind of an introduction?
Yeah, man. We're a husband and wife team, man. We both come from a crazy drug background, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And everything the same stories you hear all the time, from pills to alcohol to being in trouble, almost getting divorced twice since we've been married, you know what I mean? And just really what we do is, I don't care if you're country, I don't care if you're rap, I don't care if you're black, white, green, or yellow. The whole world needs hope, especially in the thing we're in now. So our music is hope music, man. We call it, you know what I mean? It's just trying to spread some hope, and that's what we do.
Yeah, man. Well, that's really cool. I like y'all's whole movement and what y'all stand for, and like y'all's energy is really, it's what I like, man. It's positive energy. I guess it's really all. A lot of people they think too much, man. People would just spread positive energy, man. You get that back tenfold.
Oh,
it may not be when you expect it to, but you always end up getting it back.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll just start from the beginning, man. So where y'all can kind of pinball back and forth.
Okay.
Where was you born and raised at?
I was born here, Nashville, Tennessee, in General Hospital in 1973. Might be dating myself.
Yeah.
And then I'm old, but and then she was born in
Fort Myers, Florida.
Okay, so you born? Gotcha. Okay.
Yep, I'm a native.
She's a Florida girl, Florida cracker they call them.
I'm 49.
Yeah.
Okay.
49 years old.
No, man.
No, but but I lived, you know, we started off camera. The first school I ever went to was East Cheatham. You know what I mean? So I lived off Clarksville Highway until, I guess I was probably 6, 7, something like that.
Yeah.
And then we moved to Detroit, Michigan. Lived there for some years, and we moved to Peoria, Illinois, Muncie, Indiana. Oh, then from then on, man, it gets crazy, man. A lot of instability in my younger up into teen years, you know what I mean? Which then I ended up landing in Peoria, Illinois, is where I grew up. I'd say, you know, my manhood on and then I've been in Florida, what now? 17?
Yeah,
17 years I've been down there.
Gotcha. Okay. So what was like growing up like in Illinois?
Illinois was cool, man. You know, it like I said, moving from here to Detroit, and you know, do my middle school stuff, and then ended up in Peoria. It's about 2 hours from Chicago, something like that. So it's not a great big city. A couple 100,000, I imagine, but there's a lot of gang stuff that comes. But there's also a lot of farming, man. You know what I mean? Beans, corn. You know what I mean? All that. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. You know what I mean? I guess I'd say, which influenced me through it. But you know, I was a pretty wild kid, man. You know, fights, cars. I mean, flipping them, wrecking them. Just
was it early on?
Yeah,
as a kid?
yeah. I started getting in trouble pretty early, man. I'd say. You know, going back, I mean, how deep we can go on, but you know, I came from my dad always said you got to carry a gun in a lunchbox. I carried both of them. You know what I mean? Hard-working man, good man, taught me a lot of values. You know what I mean? But there was a lot of craziness went on around my house. You know what I mean?
So
Things,
there's
a lot of domestic violence, man.
Okay.
You know, stuff people didn't talk about back then. You know what I mean? You know, like you know,
Nice.
David Allan Coe story type of thing. But
Fires.
yeah, you know, and just, you know, fights, gun shoots through hair. I mean, I could tell you, you know, stuff make your hair on the back of your neck curl up. Because everybody's got a story, you know. But so that led into me being at a young age. you know, my dad was always the type of dude, you know, you don't run from nobody. I don't care how old they are. I don't care what it is. You know what I mean? Which is the code of a lot of us guys like that. So I kind of grew up, man, you know, I used to get in a lot of fights. I didn't win every one of them, but ain't nobody ever said I ran, you know, type of deal.
Yeah.
And I carried that chip on my shoulder. Then my parents got divorced. My dad wasn't in my life from 10. I don't think I seen him again until I was 14, 15, something. You know what I mean? So yeah, you know what I mean? So my mom was a waitress, you know, and it's in our new song. I said my mom was a waitress putting food on the table, you know what I mean? We were doing what she could do, hardworking woman. And it was me and my sister, you know what I mean? So I'd get in a fight and they'd be like, I'm going to get my brother. And I'd be like, me and my sister will be here, you know what I mean? So we kind of lived a crazy life, man, you know what I mean? There wasn't a lot of, I can't tell you any grade school teachers' names. Any middle school teachers' names, you know what I mean? And it ain't no sad story, man. I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it for a million things, man. You know what I mean? I can talk to anybody. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if you're a head rock banger guy or country guy. I can walk in and make a friend before we leave, wherever we're at. Canada, but
for sure.
you know, so that's kind of how my life went. You know, roller coaster. I lived everywhere from, like I said, I was born in Nashville, went to Detroit, formed me, went to Illinois, formed me, went to Indiana. Came back to Tennessee for a little while, which that's also what led to a lot of my musical stuff. You know what I'm saying? Which when we get into that, we'll go. So that's kind of me in a nutshell. What about you, young?
Yeah, what about you?
What about me? Well, I grew up in Fort Myers, Florida, like we said. My mom and dad, they stayed married. My dad was a Vietnam soldier, so he was a very angry person, which, you know, now as an adult I totally see why he was, but he was very abusive and he took a lot of that out on me, and I always had a problem of wondering, you know, what was wrong with me. So my mom tried to keep me real protected in a private school, which you know how that goes. You get more trouble there than in a public school. But
she was trying to like shelter you.
She was trying. She did the best she could. She really did. My mom did a good job. But, you know, you can only go through so much stuff and things affect you.
Yeah. We'll probably get teary-eyed a lot.
No, that's all right.
We're real as it is around here. I knew she was going to do it.
Already what I'm seeing as a commonality between the two of y'all is the rough upbringing with the domestic violence and the abuse and stuff.
Yeah.
You were saying you were abused as a kid, right?
Yeah.
Was it
well, not abuse. Yeah, I mean, explain the abuse.
Yeah, my dad, he did some mean stuff, duct taping our noses and mouth, and you know, he did some shit. That's really abusive. Yeah. But and he changed. What was the cool part is he changed all that, you know. But unfortunately, that stuff had already happened and it affected me. So I went through a crazy time, God, for a long time. You know, my first drug rehab, I was 15 that they put me in. I would sneak out and get high, and you know, my mom was like, what did I do? And it wasn't my mom, you know, it was just me.
Yeah. And like with you, would you say the 4 years that your dad wasn't present, was that some of the roughest?
Yeah, man.
10 to 14?
And some things happened to me that if it would happen to my sons, you know what I mean? We'd be having this interview through glass, you know what I mean? Like things that ain't supposed to happen to kids, man. You know what I mean? And again, I don't want it to turn it into, oh, woe is me, you know what I mean?
No,
so it's just my story, which you know, years later after people know me, man, because I used to be a dude like, they'd be like, Dave already knocked him down. Why'd he jump on and hit him in the head with a brick, then kick the windshield in and then hit his mom? You know what I mean? Like, what's going on? What's wrong with this kid, right? And because I had a lot of anger that nobody knew about from being young. And so all this happened after my dad left. So here's the guy who's supposed to protect you, who you look up to. Up until the day he died, I looked up to him, you know what I mean? But who you look up to, who's your protector, right? And he's all of a sudden, you know, I'm driving. He used to work for Overton Produce in Nashville, and Saturdays I'd be riding to Tullahoma with him, you know what I mean? And we're listening to the Oak Ridge Boys, you know what I mean? And all this stuff that you know, he's telling me, you know, oh, man, Dave, you know, anybody can bloody my nose at 4 years old, buddy, you're good with your hand, you know what I mean? So I was always, my dad was a boxer when he was young, so I followed the suit.
He was like a superhero.
Yeah. Well, you know, you grow up, you want to be. My granddaddy the same way. You know what I mean? You know, it's like I drive a Ford. Why? Because my granddaddy drove a Ford. My dad we drive Fords. I might like a Chevy, but I drive a Ford. Well, actually, I do like Chevy now too. But you know what I mean? But so with that going on, when he left and some things happened, I put a lot of that anger into my right hand, right? You know what I'm saying? And when I say that, I mean, I became from a very soft-hearted kid, still was soft-hearted, but it wouldn't take much for me to get in trouble. So I started getting in a lot of trouble, fights. Yeah. You know what I mean? Where not normal. And again, man, I took a lot of whoopings, man, butt whoopings from younger dudes, older dudes, men. But there's a difference between fighting somebody tough and somebody who's ignorant, right? Yeah. And I've lived my whole life up until I was 45 years old, 42 years old, as I was going to die anyway. So these were all bonus years. They told me, I'd be dead by 18 or doing life in prison. Teachers told me that. Christian pastors told me that, right? You know what I mean? And so I live my life like that. And if you meet anybody who knows me from my past, will tell you, they'll be like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like if you go out with Dave, he might drop you off, pick up somebody else because you're going to fold and he's going to still be going, you know what I mean? And so that was, but that all stemmed back from my dad left, these things happened to me. So it was really a shelter I had around myself, you know what I'm saying? And so yeah, those times that when he was gone, there was some formative, crazy years. Not that my mama didn't try, you know what I mean? She tried and she found Jesus and I was in church all the time, but some of that, like she said, sometimes that stuff's too late, man. And that goes into drug addiction, man. You know, we both battled it our whole life, and our whole life is, you know, I've had, you know, brothers, one overdose on a Monday and one on a Wednesday, you know what I mean? But that's why our whole life is, I'm so dead against drug addiction, because it's robbed my kids, it's robbed me, it's robbed her, you know, her older kids. It robs, somebody has an uncle, a brother, a son, a daughter, especially with this fentanyl craziness, man. Oh, man. And, you know, so our whole life comes from that. But I think what drug addiction and childhood trauma and all these things, you know, any addiction you do, I don't care if it's, you know, sex, drugs, rock and roll. Yep. It all starts with something inside of you. Oh, yeah, it's an eternal problem. It's not an out problem, right? Yeah. And we play it off, and we don't deal with the mental part. And that was my problem. Yeah. You know what I mean? I wanted to believe, I wanted to do this, but my mental would always tell me, you ain't good enough to do that. Even musically. I'd see some success going a little bit. I'm like, you ain't good enough for this, buddy. You don't deserve this. You better go ahead and mess it up before it messes up for you, right? For sure. And so with that being said, that's kind of the childhood thing. And
yeah, we did. We had some similarities.
Yeah.
You know, that probably is what attracted us and made us kind of understand each other more.
Because we were best friends before we ever were anything else. Matter of fact, I thought she was.
I would tell that story.
Yeah, we'll get. Yeah, we can get into that when we get to how we met and all that stuff. That's kind of a crazy story.
You said, going back to the addiction at an early age, you said you said it was 14, 15?
Yeah, that's when you went to... Yeah, I started at probably like 12. I started sneaking out, you know, so long story short, my dad had an alcoholic seizure, almost died, had to get airlifted to the hospital. He almost died, so he had to change his whole life, you know, so him and my mom separated for a while. He went back to Arkansas where his parents lived and was trying to get, you know, clean everything. My mom had to move us from our house, so she was trying to keep us all going and take care of everything. I had to go to public school then. That was a whole nother problem. You know, I wasn't used to a lot of the kids, so I was getting some fights and I would get in some trouble. So and I just started sneaking out and doing drugs and.
Just start with weed?
Absolutely. Yeah. Doesn't it always?
No, not me. I skipped weed.
You skipped the line?
Didn't even, because I don't do anything to do with smoke, with cigarettes, weed, never have in my life. So I went I started drinking alcohol young. And matter of fact, I overdosed on alcohol at 14 years old and was pronounced dead twice, believe it or not. And was in the hospital in a coma. Came out of the coma. My mom was obviously praying. People still talk about it. While I was in the ambulance, they're like, we lost her. And she fell on her knees, started praying. God,
did you say you drank too much?
Yeah, acute, same way Keith Whitley passed away. Oh, wow. Acute alcohol poisoning, man. And Keith Whitley is my favorite country singer, man, in the world. And he was my dad's. And it's just crazy, man. I never got a chance to meet Keith Whitley's son, but I would love to someday, man. So if you're out there, Jesse, I'll meet you.
For sure,
man. But you know, so I started that road. But I skipped weed. I just started doing acid. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't smoke that stuff. You got anything I can eat, snort, something in here?
Yeah.
They're like, yeah. And so I started. That's how my drug career
So
went.
it started with acid.
Yeah,
Okay.
man. That was and then when my real dad came back in my life, first line I ever did of cocaine when I was 15 years old was with him in a motel room in Jamestown, Tennessee. And and so again, man, you know, my dad was a good man, and later in life we mended some stuff, bro, before he passed, and you know, I got to work with him and stuff like that. I'll get teary-eyed. But you know, so that started me a long life of being addicted to cocaine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I like to go, bro. I'm high strung. You can tell I ain't stopped talking since you pulled in the drive. It's just if people think I'm on drugs. They're like, you on drugs? Like, no, he's like this at 4. I've been up since 4 in the morning. Like, all right, Chad's gonna be here. Start getting ready. She's like, buddy, leave me alone, right? But you know, so that started a thing with me going, man. And again, my dad was a hard worker, great provider, you know, like a great dude. So I don't want to, you know, bash him through this interview, man. He taught me to work, man, and we worked. But you know, those kind of things nobody talks about, right? So when you do a line of cocaine at 15 years old with the guy who you've been missing, who now is your hero, you ain't seen him for 5 years.
Just want to hang out.
Now you're like, cool, bro. And then, you know, and another thing, some things I wouldn't change, you know. Then he moved back to Detroit, and I went up there and lived with him and partied and fought in bar. You know, did what you're supposed to do, I thought. Run around drinking Jack Daniels and doing cocaine, and I'm with my dad, buddy. We're bad, man, you know. But it set me up in life where, you know what I mean? And I went down that road, good, bad, good, bad, good, bad. Good for a year, man. Dave's doing great. I was a self-sabotager. And this is why a lot of people, man, somebody not too long ago looked at me and goes, man, I thought you'd be, and I took it as a backhanded comment. And then I'm at this place in my life where I don't focus on what my workers did wrong. I focus what I did as the boss.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? Because sometimes I can tell you 20 reasons why she needed to do this, and I'm mad, right? In a relationship, any relationship. And somebody said, man, I thought you'd be so much further in music by now, right? And at first I wanted to hit him in the mouth, right? But I love Jesus, and so I didn't want to hit him in the mouth. That ain't too Jesus-y, but no. Then I was like, yeah, man, you know what goes back. And so when you come in a place in life where we've gotten to the last 6 years, you start doing some self-checking. You know what I mean? And I go back to childhood trauma was something I never dealt with before. And it kept me from doing a lot of stuff in my life. And I think that's why we see, you know, you ever hear why we got so many people hooked on drugs? Well, because there's a lot of flawed human beings that got hurt and
They know how to deal with
they haven't dealt with it. So it ain't that Johnny hooked on crack is a bad guy. Johnny hooked on crack's a hurt your 8-year-old little kid. And so Johnny's doing what Johnny's done his whole life. You know what I mean? And so our whole mission is, if one person hears a song and it opens up a conversation for me to share my story and they get it,
and bring them some hope.
I did it. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's an award for me. You know what I mean? Right?
So, like with your situation, like, was yours kind of the same route as far as it was kind of peaks and valleys for you too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went through my first drug rehab at 15. God, I was so mad at my mom. I was so pissed. I ended up running away from it. She brought me back to it. I stayed, I finished, I completed it. And then I went on to work there, you know, as a junior counselor for a little while. And and then for a little while, you know, I did good. And then I graduated high school a little early, wanted to go to clubs, you know, always had that wild side to me. Was going to clubs, met an older guy, got pregnant. My mom said, listen, you got to get married. I was like, what the hell? I'm still a kid, you know? Yeah. So I got married, had my son, Ethan, greatest kid in the world.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
Had him, but I pretty much married my father. You know, not the good father that had changed his life, but, you know, married somebody that was an alcoholic.
It was similar to your...
Yeah, he had a lot of similar things. It's crazy how you're kind of drawn to that, you know? So it ended up being... Gosh, I was married for I think 7 years, but it was a bad relationship too. He was abusive. He had a serious alcohol problem. I ended up going and being a call girl and an escort to make money for our family. Led me and
just a realest interview Chad Arms had for a while.
Get ready, put on your seatbelt.
Yeah.
So then,
Thought it was the Christians coming in. No, I'm just playing.
In order to do that, though, I had to be high, you know. So of course, man, and this was in Asheville, North Carolina, and Greenville, South Carolina. I started doing I'd have to do coke, ecstasy, alcohol.
Something to just get you in that
Absolutely.
mindset.
That's the story,
Absolutely.
man.
Boy,
Yeah.
it started me on a whirlwind.
Yeah.
A whirlwind.
So the hard stuff for you was that stuff when you was doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then later pills. Pills was a huge downfall for
And
me.
that'll
Yeah.
lead in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where do y'all want to go from here? Like, so y'all basically, this is right around y'all's time where y'all like what, mid-20s at this point?
Yes.
Around this time,
Yep.
same for you. Which is
Yeah, 20. I mean, we didn't meet until our
Way later.
late 30s. But, you know, and there, through the mid-20s, 30s, you know what I mean? I moved to Florida the middle of my 30s when I
and
got
what brought you down there? Was it work or was it
my
family?
ex-wife.
Okay.
Really, to be honest, man, two things were going to happen to me in Peoria. I was going to go get locked up for the rest of my life, or I was going to end up dead. I mean, it's the same thing. Bar fights, drunk, robbing drug dealers, selling drugs, another relationship, another baby come. Like, you know, it was just a cycle. Dave's doing good, Dave's doing bad. Dave's rapping. Well, then I burnt up the name. Didn't no church want me to come rap at their church? Because man, when he's doing good, he's good, but we don't know where the guy's at anymore, right?
We don't know what Dave.
We don't know what Dave we're getting. There you got it, Chad.
Yeah.
I don't know
It's
what
bad,
Dave
it's
we're
bad.
getting. And when Dave's bad, he's bad. I had somebody say something not too long ago. And I got buddies who drank. I got buddies who smoke weed. I got buddies who do whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
Dave and Jonna just can't do it
Yeah.
because, 6 years ago, we were sober for a little bit and we got unsober, buddy, and we learned why we were sober. Felony stops, guns in faces, Dave's going to jail, and I ain't been in jail forever. We're fighting ankle monitors.
Wow.
Yeah, right? So, the bad Dave is like a guy told me the other day, he said, man, you could just drink. Why don't we have a drink? I said, well, here's the thing. If I drank, I might be okay. But if I go off, you're going with me till I'm done. I don't want to hear you crying. I don't want to hear you doing it. And I promise you, you're going to be like, we should have just left him alone, right?
We shouldn't have called his bluff.
Yeah, but it depended on which Dave, man. So it led, my ex-wife, I knew her for a long time, it was one of my many ex-wives. She had gotten pregnant for my daughter, Nevaeh, and I'd already had older girls that I wasn't the best father to, you know what I mean? I'd not been in their life, or I made excuses. Oh, they're trying to make me bang, and nobody can take that but me. I wasn't a good father to some of my older kids, and so I said, hey, this kid's start to finish. You ain't taking her out of my life. And so I'm moving to Florida, and I was getting in trouble in Illinois and just acting crazy. And I thought, man, Florida might be a change. You know what I mean? And I ain't, to me, Fort Myers, Florida, being a always living in either Tennessee or the Midwest, that was China. We didn't take no vacations. You know what I mean? My growing up, we didn't go to Disneyland a mile. And so I went down there, man. Again, something that both of us, even through drug addiction, I've always been a hard worker. It goes back to the gun and lunchbox. Either I'm working at a factory driving a fork truck, or I'm moving pool tables, for my stepdad, which I did, or I'm working at my sister's body shop, or I'm selling dope on the side, and whatever there is, I'm gonna work. I'm not scared to work. You know what I mean? That's just something about me. Same exact thing. This girl makes most men look silly when we work, and so I thought, if I come to Florida, nobody knows me. I can start my business, and thank God, man. I started a business down there, and now we're in Southwest Florida, man. I'm the premier guy in my field of what I do, and but I had never lived more than 15, 20 minutes from my mom and my sister, right? So moving to Florida, and then that relationship didn't work out. You know what I'm saying? And then I had a daughter and son with her. But they were babies, and me and her wasn't together, and I had them, which I have full custody of them to this day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I had them all the time, and I went through drug addiction, and I was not perfect, in that marriage, or perfect to her, but I've tried damn hard to be a good dad to them kids. Ain't been perfect, but they don't know it. I signed them up for school. I took them to the dentist. You know what I mean? And I raised. And Jonna, coming into our life, how we met is crazy. We want to get into that yet, or what do you want to do? We get to music later, man. It's just music. Listen to this story, guys. Yeah. So I told you when I said we're gonna be talking, man. We get going, then people understand why we do what we do, and why because we're in a weird spot when it comes to music. But so I moved to Florida. I didn't have a brother, cousin, sister, uncle, mother, right? You know what I mean? You know that song, "One is the loneliest."
Yeah.
I know what it means to walk around Walmart on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, how's that Bravo Gator line go? I'm on the phone with mama trying not to cry. To be a good son, you got to know when to lie. Right?
Yeah.
I remember that song was popular then. And that's another story. But because I would lie to my mom, like, yeah, I'm doing good. And obviously, I move pool tables for a living, okay? I recover, move them, anything to do with a pool table. To find customers where that's pool halls, that's bars, right? So trying to stay sober and go to church, I'm going to these bars. Well, it's almost like anybody who sells cocaine goes, that guy has big nostrils. And so I get the hook up. People like me. Hey, Dave, they trust me. They know I'm good for what I say. I
started doing politicking with the guys in the bar.
And I make, and it, you know, it's funny. Dudes will be like, man, I've known that dude 5 years and he won't front me like he does. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that kind of stuff. So, man, I started a cocaine addiction that I managed. I managed it. Okay. Which I mean by saying that, through a lot of years, I'd get up and be in that truck by golly at 6 a.m. I move 3-4 pool tables, and I'd pick up a quarter ounce on the way home. You know what I mean? We might stay up till 6, 7 in the morning, 3, and then go. You know what I mean? I always stayed work, or if I have my kids, then you know we know, hey, we'll start on Saturday. You know what I mean? It's whatever, and so, but I did that addiction, and then I'd be trying to serve God and get clean, man, but I didn't take care of this. And this, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know where anybody is with God. I'm not a Jesus bastard, man. I know what works in my life, and I don't push that on anybody. But sometimes we go in and we get this taken care of, right? You go in, man. You know, right now, if we all walk into church and they're playing some church music, we're all gonna start crying and we're gonna be hugging and holding hands because there's a thing. But then when we leave out, I would go right back because I didn't have this taken care of, and with all that being said, so my relationship didn't work out in Florida, you know, but my business is taking off. I'm making money. I'm mad at my stepdad because I'm thinking, that dude's been paying me this much and he's been making this much and I'm the one doing it. No, I'm just kidding. I love you, Larry. But, and you know what I mean? So I was in charge down there, man, and I was hustling, man. And and when I say hustling, I wasn't selling no dope. I was just moving pool tables and I'd go to work 7 days a week and build the name, and we were in $million home. We done Judge Judy's pool table. We done Brian Urlacher's pool table. We done Keith Urban's pool table. Like I've been in Judy. I've done Larry Bird's pool. I done Larry Bird's pool table when he lived there. I done you know, the biggest house on Southwest Florida coast. We're in a lot of big homes. We just did a Lamborghini custom made pool table by Old House and Pool Tables, made right here in Portland, Tennessee, by the way. Kobe Old House, love you, bro. We do all their pool tables in Southwest Florida, but you know, so I was working, but I was doing this self-medicating. Make Dave okay, trying to be a dad, up, down, sideways, whatever. Just making it through. Lonely down there. I didn't have nobody really. And I got in a fight, went to jail. I hadn't been to jail, bro. I had never been away from my baby girl who's 16 now. But when that happened, I had never slept away from her, really. But unless she was like gone for the weekend or something. Right. And or gone, you know, she was a baby. And I remember I was in jail, bro, and I hadn't, you know, man, it's like one of those things. Any guy who's been locked up, which you know so many of them too, but it's like you know the system when you're in it, when you're caught up in it. Well, I hadn't been in it for a while. I'd moved to Florida. I'd try to change my life, and so I get arrested, and I remember being on the phone with my mom and I'm crying, right? I'm crying in jail and I hang up and this dude's like, you crying? I'm like, yeah, I'm crying, bro. We can go dry my tears back here if you want to, you know? I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm away from my kid, man. Yeah, I'm crying, bro. I don't know what I ain't even supposed to be in here. Her ex was in jail with me, right? Oh, wow. And
this is before you knew?
Yeah, I didn't know her. I'm leading up how we met, how we got together. Okay, yeah. So I'm in jail. Stressed out, had the highest bond in the jail. They upped my bond, by the way.
Was it like an assault charge or something?
Yeah. And I got a very violent bar fights mostly, man. But Adam Calhoun will tell you about the state of Illinois, how that works out. You know, he knows. Aggravated battery on a police officer. I know a little bit about that too. Yeah. And but you know, the state of Illinois, you know, it's different in different places how it goes. But in Florida, they go by the points system. And they'll hold other states against you for the point system for your bond and stuff like that.
Oh, it says here you did this.
Yeah. And you know, and a lot of the stuff, I mean, I remember the girl at the desk was like, "Ooh, you was a bad boy in the 90s. I was like, it's gangster rap music. You made me crazy, you know what I mean? And because she could see my record and, you know, getting in bar fight stuff. And so I met her ex not the one that she was talking about from the beginning. Another ex, and we sound like we're Chris. We're real guys, but in jail, and there's a lot of Hispanic dudes in Florida, right? So we were the only two white guys in the pod together. So I was in there going to bed, man. He's like, "Can I sleep in here with you, bro?" Like, I'm like, "Oh man, you know, I don't even sleep wherever in there, man. It's jail, bro." And we got to talking, about church, bro. I'm like, "Man, dude, I'm a Christian rapper, you know what I mean? All this." And at that time, I had released some stuff earlier that year. And I'm like, "Man, I can't believe I'm in jail, dude. I moved from Illinois. I should have known." And I'm going through my whole thing. And he's like, "Oh, man, I love Jesus too." We start having this, him more than me, but this talking about God. And I said, "When I get out of here, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. When I get out of here, I'm working on my posture, DDP. Diamond Dallas Page, if you see this, I am working on my posture."
Yeah, DDP yoga.
106 pounds, baby, in a year, DDP yoga. Shout out.
Yeah, right.
We'll talk about that off camera too, and on camera. But anyway, so I go, when I get out of here, bro, I'm gonna find me a church, man. I don't care what anybody says. I ain't doing this. I ain't living my life. My baby girl don't deserve this. I didn't know I had a son on the way then at that time, Jackson. Love you, Jackson. Man, Elijah. But and I said, I'm gonna find me a church, man. You know, I don't care. And he's like, "Yeah, me too." Now I'm gonna be honest. You know, I didn't remember his name. You know what I mean? Because I was so mad when we left the bond court that I was the only guy that got theirs up, and everybody else got to go home. You know what I mean? Yeah. But so when I got out, when I did get the bond and got out, I went to church, found me a church, man, and I was living in a little hotel. You know, went by the week. You know what I mean? Going through with my ex is over with. Obviously, I had no house. You know, and so I
How long did you have to do jail time for?
Well, and that time, none that time.
You're just waiting upon
over the years, God, Lord, man, I don't know how many years, but so over time, all of that, you know. Yeah. So over the years, I don't, I hate glorifying that stuff, but it's part of the story. But so I got out. I'm out there, and I went to the church. So I went one week. Nobody was, I was there, cool. The next week, I remember I'm walking in there a Sunday, I've been working. I'm trying to stay sober, bro. And I'm walking through there, and I hear somebody go, "David Cravens." Right? Like, he knew my whole name. David Cravens. Yeah. And I'm like, turn around. You had
your ex-wife with you. And Jackson the van.
Yeah, that time?
Yeah.
When I first
we all
met
went
you.
out to eat.
Oh,
yes.
yeah. Took her out to eat, and I ain't stopped yet. No, but
I love to eat.
Yeah, but so I remember them coming into church. He remembered my whole name, everything. You know what I mean? Like, and we'd only in there for a night together or whatever. But so he comes, "Hey man, you're here." I'm like, "Yeah, bro, what's up, buddy?" And couldn't stand her. I smile, man. That girl thinks she's
What
tough.
was it about her that you didn't like her?
Now, hindsight, that she's my best friend and I know her better than anybody, and we have nothing we've hid from each other. She was a hurt person that had a big shield around her, and a hurt girl and a hurt woman, and she had this tough. Gotcha. Ain't nobody gonna hurt me, no guy. And from the decisions she had made and what she went through with having a pull knife, everything, you know what I mean? And she was sitting there. I was like, "This chick thinks she's cool, man. What's going on, man?" And anyway, so we leave and go out to eat and whatever. Well, at that time, they were on pills real bad. I mean, bad, bro. I'm talking her and him were on pills. Yeah. And I'm talking nodding out at the table, chicken bone eating pills. You better, hey, you.
It was the time when all the pill mills.
Yeah, and down in Florida, that was big. Pill mills, the scripts.
It was like Oxys or something?
Oxys and Roxys, And so, and I was like, I snorted a little cocaine. These people got pride. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean?
Like going up.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, exactly. They're like, "You want a pill?" I said, "Buddy, I don't need to go sleep. I need to stay. I've got things to do, right? I'm going. And anyway, that day, me, we formed a friendship. You know what I mean? No, I'm not gonna get into bashing the dude. We still are, on speaking terms and stuff like that. And my stepdaughter Adriana, it is, I raised her, a big part of her life. But
I was at the worst.
Yeah, she was. I met her at her worst, and I was coming out of I always had this kind of a pride thing, which in drug addiction they call it false pride, but that I work, bro. I don't borrow no money. I ain't been homeless, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like that was kind of my, like, I work.
I'm not that bad.
Yeah, I'm not that bad.
Yeah.
I work, I work or I'll hustle to get cocaine,
yeah.
and then I just do this. It's okay. It's a rich man's drug. I'm okay with it, even though I had no extra money. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. And it changed who I am. Like right now, I take your whole phone apart and the TV, and then frisk you before you left, and put this and start making demands. You know, I want to chop her in a pizza, but you know what I'm saying. Like I was wild. The people will tell you, man, I was paranoid. But meeting them, we forged a friendship, and he worked for me for a couple times. That didn't work out. You know, he fell asleep. And again, and you know, I remember her sitting at my table nodding out, and I'm like, what's going on, man? You know what I mean? And
at the job?
No, at like my house. Like they came over and ate.
Oh,
you know what I mean? And you know, they're on pills pretty bad, and I did some with them one time. I'm like, yeah, this ain't my thing, man. I'm out here itching and sleeping. I'm like, I like snort cocaine and drink whiskey and that crazy, but so if I took a pill, I probably wouldn't have got arrested as much. I'd been asleep somewhere. I'd probably be dead. But and so she was on it bad, and you know, I don't want to get into glorifying the drugs. I know it's some of it. I'm making light of it. And it's funny, but it's the only way I can kind of think of it. Like, wow, was we? Because if I tell people stories, they would think we're lying if I told them to them for real. Like they'll be like, oh yeah, I've heard that. You know how you watch an interview and you're like, man, all right, bro, but you know, really. You know, we're not bragging about it, but I remember the first time, and she'll tell you, I was a gentleman to her. I never tried to hit on her. I never said anything out of the way. You know what I mean? And she was at her worst, you know, whatever. But we were sitting on my back porch one night, and I remember looking at her, and he was there, and I thought, if she can get away from him, she'll be all right. There's something special about her. Yeah, you know what I mean?
You like had a realization.
Yeah, I had a realization, like not even in like, you know, of course I thought she was hot and I thought she was pretty, but I thought like there's something special. We were having a conversation like if she can get away from him, you know, and
too. I think he felt bad because I like when I tell you I was at my worst. I was at my worst. I had my 2 daughters with me, bouncing around from whichever drug dealer that I could sell the most of his stuff to go stay in a house that he had. It was bad. It was bad, you know. And then on top of that, I had a boyfriend that just kind of was along for the ride and what he could get out of it, and he was just as bad as I was. So it was bad. And David, having the heart that he does, was like, you know, how can I help? Exactly, like it was a mess. It was a mess. So.
And you know, and so with that, nothing. You know, I remember thinking that, and he went and did his thing. You know, try to get clean and change his life. He went back to where he was from, and she went into Teen Challenge, bro. And beat a pill addiction people don't come back from.
What she went into what?
Teen Challenge. Okay. Teen Challenge, I'd like a chick. No, I'm just kidding. Teen Challenge is a program. It's a Christian-based drug program. It says teen, but it's for adults too.
Gotcha. Okay.
And you know, she went into that program. I remember her telling me, "I'm gonna go in there." I said, "That'd probably be the best thing for you." We went out and got hammered the night before she went in. And we were still friends. She went to Detox, went in there.
Hardest thing I ever did.
Stayed there for a year.
Now, had you and your at the time your boyfriend, did y'all split up?
Yes.
Was it like
it was
bad
it
thing?
was bad. It was bad. Yeah. And it wasn't like he loved me or cared about me like I had said earlier. It was more like what could he make off of me and what could he you know, get, because I had the scripts. I could go to different doctors, get all the pills. Yeah. So it was just a mess. So yeah, we broke up, and I just knew, you know, like one of my daughter's friends took a video of me cooking, and while I'm cooking, I'm falling asleep and started a fire. And she showed me that video. I think my daughter Brianna was in middle school then, and I was like, oh my God, what have I become? You know, so I immediately called Detox. And I had no money, you know, and called Teen Challenge, which my mom had always pushed this program on me. And I was always like, you know, even back when I was being a stripper and an escort, and she was like, they have this program for women like you. And I was like, Mom, what the hell? You know, I wasn't ready. So when I was finally ready, I called them. And the thing with those programs are you have to have money. You have to have either somebody that's going to sponsor you. I mean, that's thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And I was like, all right, God, if I do this, will you please just make the way, even with Detox? I mean, they said, listen, we got a bed. You can come in. I went in, Detox.
How How rough was that?
Oh God, it was so
Coming
bad.
off oxys?
Yeah, to
was
come
it
off
just
oxy, Xanax.
Yeah.
I even
Xanax
had
is
to
so
go,
much worse,
Oh
I
my
feel like.
God, Xanax is because it literally you feel like you can't breathe without them, you know. And I had been, and two part of my story, I had been on methadone. I tried to take myself off the pills, went and they put me on like 150 milligrams of methadone. And then I didn't like the way that made me feel. So I was trying to take myself down against medical advice.
Yeah.
So I had to go into detox for that too. Oh my, and you talk about hurting. Oh my God, it hurts so bad.
They say a lot of times too, people die like
Yeah, they do.
detox off
They
all
do.
that stuff.
I mean, especially now too.
Yeah.
Fentanyl's even 10 times worse. You know. Yeah.
So yeah, I did that, and then Teen Challenge, they accepted me, and I went in, and man, I was so, it was the hardest thing I ever did because I knew that I had to be away. Ethan was in New York with his uncle, and then I had Brianna and Adriana. Adriana was going into 3rd grade, and Brianna was going into 6th grade, I think, middle school. But man, it was so hard because I had to make sure they were taken care of. So my ex's mom was going to help with Adriana because she had to go to South Carolina, and I'm like, oh man.
So your kids are kind
yeah,
of
and Brianna had to go to North Carolina, and I was like, oh my gosh. But I knew, I was like, how am I ever going to tell my kids that I love them?
Yeah.
And how was I going to prove that to them if I was going to stay on this path, So I was like, all right, John, suck it up, do what you got to do. So I went in, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me.
And that was in Florida?
Yep.
And
Fort Myers.
You was there for how long?
I was there for a year,
okay.
and I graduated that program, and it really was the best thing for me because it taught me structure, it taught me how to work, it taught me how to love myself.
Yeah.
It taught me to heal, and it really helped my dad and I's relationship too. And it was crazy because the whole time you're going through that, like towards your end, they're like, what do you want to do? What are you going to do with your life? And I was like, I'm going into the police academy. Only by the grace of God, I had one arrest, and that was solicitation for prostitution, and I was involved with cops and being shady and just stupidness. But that was the only thing I'd ever been arrested for. I don't know how. I do not know how. So I got to go into the police academy.
Excelled in the academy.
And I loved it. Because it was something I could do for me and something that I could show people, look, I'm not all these things that everybody said I was, So I ended up letting my daughter, Adriana, she had come back and got to live there with me. And she was in 5th grade now. Her dad he was worse than ever. He was shooting up. He was still crazy as hell. I let her see him. We went to go see him, and he went in the bathroom and shot up. Now, I had an exam at the police academy the next day, and if you fail an exam, you have to start the whole academy all over again.
Oh, wow.
Well, I was so upset, so mad at myself that I let her see him, and I gave him grace and gave him a chance, and that he did that to her, that I couldn't get out of my own head. So I failed the test. So I had to go all the way back through the academy, all
And
over again. Yeah. And I did it, and graduated it, and that was probably another one of the best things I could ever do.
Yeah. And that was out of Fort Myers.
Fort Myers.
Fort Myers. Yeah.
And at this point, when all this is happening, y'all are just friends still.
We're
Yeah.
friends.
So crazy part about this is our relationship. Now, little did we know God has a sense of humor, and He had a plan. You know what I mean? So we so Teen Challenge does car washes, right? You've probably seen them before. You don't realize they're Teen Challenge, but they're like, you'll see people on the side like, hey, $10 and big signs, car wash, Teen Challenge. That's how they raise money for the program, right? From her going in, I seen her the last night before she went to detox, and she went in, and I was like, hey, I wish you the best. Meanwhile, I'm still like a functioning cocaine addict. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm going through a divorce. I'm living on my own. I'm running around doing this. You know what I mean? I got the kid. It ain't nothing for me to be moving a pool table with a blanket with my 2 kids right there, and I'm working on it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, but I'm like, I'm a good dad and good dude, and I'm Sunday ball night. Yeah, you know what I mean? But I'm still functioning. You know what I mean? And on the outside, people think I'm normal, but I would go in, like I had to pull into an auto parts store. So they would always have these car washes at like O'Reilly's or AutoZone. And I pull in to get my trucks overheating. And I'm like, and Teen Challenge is a Christian organization. And I'm not really too close with Jesus at this point. Mm-hmm. I pull in and I'm like, mother, piece of mother. And I'm hitting it. Mother, I'll blow this. And I look over and all these girls are staring at me. And I was like, hey guys.
No, I called your name.
She's like, Doughboy? Because that used to be my rap name forever, you know what I mean? I was Doughboy for Ice Cube, but they're like, Doughboy? She's like, Doughboy? And I'm like, Jonna. Because I hadn't seen her for like 8 months, you know what I mean? I'm like, how you doing, girl? She's like, I'm doing good. I was like, man, I'm so proud of you. And I was like, good job, man, you know. And I remember leaving, and then I'd see her again. Like, it's like our paths kept crossing, you know what I mean?
Universe kept trying to tell you.
Yeah, exactly. And we didn't know,
so
man.
Crazy.
And so then she graduates. You know, I'll just fast forward because you'll be here for 3 years, but because there's so much in that time that that happened, and this sounds like it's a long time, but it's like a year and 2 years. But so she got out, we got in contact. We're talking, and she's sought after, bro. Like all these Christian dudes are like, "Hey, you need some prayer? Send me a picture." Sorry, but it's the way it is. I won't call you by name. You know who you are, though. But you know, so we're friends, bro. We started friends. I got 2 babies, bro, that I got full time all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Them all
and
the
they're
time.
young, man.
All
You know,
the
I don't care
time.
what anybody says. They can say whatever they want. They can say what. I had them kids all the time. You know what I mean? And I work, bro, and I'm self-employed. And if you don't move pool tables, you won't make money, man. You know what I mean? And I've got a lot of accounts, and I built a good name. And so them kids will work. My 14-year-old son covers a set of pool table rails work better than most men right now. He's been around it his whole life. So, you know, and she would help me with them because she needed to make money because she was in the Teen Challenge program. And then she would clean my little. I'm a dirtball guy. You know,
You were.
I've gotten better. I throw clothes everywhere. Kids, my shirt was dirty. I'd stop at the gas station, buy a new one. You know what I mean? And she would clean my place. But here's the thing: I couldn't be there. She wouldn't be alone. You know what I mean? Because she changed her life, bro. Like it was all integrity. You know what I mean? And so we started being friends like that. And you know, and I told her, you don't want to be involved in my crazy life. I got this exes, and I'm dealing with this,
crazy.
and I'll save all the other stuff. Some things happened. I remember she went out on a date with somebody. I was pissed.
Because you was thinking, oh.
But I was like, I didn't want to bring her in because she was doing so good. And I was telling her I was clean, but I really wasn't.
You wasn't ready to do that.
I had a lot going on. I was getting through divorce, you know what I mean? I was still dabbling.
Another baby.
Yeah, another baby coming, man. I got to get cable. And then they, you know, was coming, and so I told her, I was like, you don't want to be part of this. But we were just friends, bro. There was no romantic thing. And she went on a date with somebody. I won't say your name, but you know who you are.
Yeah.
And I was mad, bro. And my mom was like, wanted me to be with her. My mom's in Illinois, but she's like, God's putting you 2 together because, you know, she's so, I love you, Mom. And she's like, David, you need to straighten up and not mess this up, you know, and she loves you. She's a good girl. I'm like, Mom, that girl don't even like me. She's my best friend. She's my homegirl, which in later in, she knew everything about me, which we had to deal with some of that in our marriage later on because we knew each other, everything about each other. And, but she was my friend, like, you know what I mean? And so I remember sitting at Cracker Barrel after she went out on a date, and I wrote a song about it. But I looked at her and I said, I think I love you, man. I don't want to. She's like, I've been waiting, you idiot. Like, what? You know what I mean? Like, really? And
So
I'm
this
like,
whole time, how long had you had your feelings changed like that?
I'm a funny guy, Chad. I won her over,
Yes.
not with
Yes.
looks. You know
No,
what I mean?
you charismatic.
He's very charismatic.
Yeah.
So I would say, man, after I started cleaning for him, and it was funny because we would always hang out together, you know, and we would just have so much fun, and he was just different, you know. He was different. So I
felt like safe with him.
Yeah, I was like, man, and he always took such great care of his kids, you know. I was like, this guy's, he's a real deal.
My
He's
younger one's in. Somebody's going to see this and
yeah.
say, he didn't pay child support.
I hadn't seen that. I hadn't seen that for a while, you know, in a man. So I was like, all right, this guy's cool. And he was just real, you know. He was just real. So I kind of like after we started hanging out all the time, yeah, you know, started catching feelings.
Yeah. And how long of a time period was it until he told you that? And you was
I'd probably say, it was a few months.
About 6 months, maybe. We were hanging pretty tight, like.
But I kept it in check.
She's giving me,
you know?
yeah. There was
'Cause I
never
didn't
no
wanna mess
kissing,
myself
no
up.
hugging. I mean, side hugging, bro. Like, and she was very militant about that. And dudes were hitting her up left and right too. You know what I mean? Like, and you know, everybody wants attention. And I mean, not saying she was seeking that, but you know what I mean. But especially coming out of a program, what am I going to do with my life? And you know what I mean? Like, and you know, her saying about my father-in-law, you know, her younger, he was that way, but that's not the man I knew. You know, he changed his whole life. He was my best friend until he died. You know, I love my father-in-law.
No, wait, and too, like I wanted to take you back because when I was going through the police academy, my dad was like my biggest fan. It was crazy because we'd have to, God, like physically, you would have to do some crazy stuff. I'd have to run the bridge, and he would sit there and go over the bridge and honk, and he would take me to the academy in the morning because I didn't have a car yet, you know. So he would come at like 5 a.m. He would come pick me up, drive me to the academy, because he really, I mean, he knew. I'm sure he felt partly responsible, but he also knew that, man, I needed that from him. You know, I needed that push, and I needed to know that, hey, I'm doing something right. And he was super proud, and that like pushed me, made me even go even harder. Like I would meet all the boys.
Yeah, both of our parents, our dads, even my dad in his last life, he changed around. He wasn't that dude no more. He settled down. Obviously, was a hard worker. Worked at the same place forever.
But you know what too? In that, it's like you learn that your parents were just people too.
Yeah, man.
And they were hurt people, and they went through things. And
nobody's got this life figured out, man. You know what I mean? Even the many times I've been married in a relationship, man, I never would think years later people who've been married forever call me for marriage advice, bro. And I ain't been no perfect guy. You know what I mean? But there's a certain way that we do stuff now. But you know, so you know, it seems both of our fathers, you know, turned out to be good guys and changed. You know what I mean? And more her father than mine. I mean, my dad was still a redneck, and he'd cuss you and hit you in the head if you had to. But my father-in-law, I remember the first time I met him. You know what I mean? Like she brings me over. I had nowhere to go on Easter because I had no family, and my kids were with their mom, bro. And I did a song, which it's still on YouTube somewhere.
This was shortly after he told me.
Yeah. This is shortly after I did a song called "Leave 'Em Behind." You can find it on YouTube. And it got there. It's like me rapping, and I went back and filmed it at the motel I was going to kill myself in. I was going to commit suicide, bro. And I took a bunch of pills, snorted some cocaine, and I woke up. I was like, "You can't even kill yourself, right, bro?" Like, you know what I mean? And
so so this was right around the time that y'all had.
Yeah, it's after I told her, but then we kind of split. Like, I didn't want to get her involved in it. You know what I mean? I was going to try to chase my kids' mom because I didn't want to look them in the face and say I didn't try. You know what I mean? And long story short,
because of this situation,
there's so much, man. But and I ended up in a hotel room on Thanksgiving at that time on Thanksgiving.
What year is this?
2009?
Okay.
Yeah.
10?
2011.
No, 2010.
Because I graduated 2012.
No, but I'm talking about when, I think 2009 or 10, man. Okay. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
And one of those Thanksgivings, but because I was alone and I didn't want to tell my mom and them I wasn't doing good. I didn't want to tell them what was going on. My kids were with their mom. I had nobody. I was like, man, I'd just kill myself. Maybe it'd be better with them kids gone. And I'd been I've been up. And when I tell you I'd stay up, man, I'd stay up 4 or 5 days. Crazy, bro. I mean, I frisked you, bro. I didn't trust anybody. I'd take the soles off my shoes. I'd go through. I mean, I was bad schizophrenic paranoia, man. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was schizophrenic, just a normal person. I always think somebody's out to get me. You know what I mean? And so I remember just being paranoid in this hotel room, held up. Anyway, I went back and shot the music video in that hotel room where I was going to kill myself. I did a song called "Leave 'Em Behind." And I hadn't rapped for years. I hadn't done anything, man. And I remember talking to her on the phone. I go, I just want to change my life and do this. She goes, Dave, you got to leave that stuff behind. You know what I mean? So I sat down, penned the song out. It was a good Christian song, good Christian rap song, you know. And got some things. I started rapping again. We started working on our relationship. Now, just because you get sober and you go through a program and you've got toxic relationships out, doesn't mean when you jump into a relationship that everything's okay. Because so now what we do is she's sober, doing good. I'm sober, doing good. We love each other. We're like, let's just get married. We're going to get married right now, and it's going to be great. We're going to change the world. Didn't happen that way. We got married. We started trying to do right things, not party. And now you're not medicated anymore. So all these things you've always covered up, you've got to deal with them, right? If you go outside right now and cut a weed out, that weed comes back if you don't deal with getting the root, right? So early on in our relationship, us living together now, she's got kids, I got babies. You know, when I say babies, I'm talking 2, 4, 3, 5, whatever. And, Adriana was 10 when we got together or something like that. And everything. So, now we're in, this is yours, they're mine. You don't talk to my kid like that. Hey, bro, he ain't funny. He's only funny when he's in front of somebody. When he gets tired and his back hurts, he's a son of it. You know what I mean? And it starts going on. we're at church, and I remember, and I said, hey, man, I told this guy, this church guy, I said, hey, man, we need some help, bro. Like our relationship. He said, oh, you guys are a power couple. Power couple. Pray about it. You're going to be all right. I said, no, bub, we don't pray about it. Like,
how long have y'all been together at this time?
We've been a year, 2 years, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, enough
Here's
where...
the thing. You get together, and you've never had a healthy relationship. You know?
You're used to that toxicity.
Yeah, well, that's all you know.
Chaos.
I operate under chaos, man. You know, I'm working on that in my business and my music stuff right now. Now, because I'm the best, man. Put me against the walls when I'll show you I can do it, right? You know, and same way. So.
And then you make the other person.
It was in
for what everybody else has done. To you.
It was in. So we started the real life. Now the Band-Aids are off. And now, whenever you're in a bad relationship, what she'd been through before, she's like, I'm not going to trust you as much. You don't get as much leeway, but you better do better. Mm-hmm. Right? That's how people go in relationships. That's how she comes in, I come in, and, you know, it was a recipe for, that's a strong-willed woman, buddy. I'm going to tell you something. I grew up in pool halls. I ain't never ran for nobody. I've got beat up. She makes me nervous. You know what I'm saying? Like she ain't scared either. So two of those personalities, and we started it. So now we relapse, and we're closet relapsing. Nobody knows we're relapsed. So we're doing cocaine. We don't want to disappoint, and my father-in-law loves me, and you know what I mean. So anyway, it goes on, and
when y'all relapsed, how long had y'all?
We had been sober for maybe a couple years. Yeah, you know what I mean, and just on our own will, you know what I mean, not dealing with anything. And then we relapsed, and it would go good. Then we split up. And we had divorce papers, and then we got back together, and then we split up because you did this and I did this, and you know what I mean. I'm going to just slam all that in there. It's going.
We just had a lot of.
We had a lot of stuff.
My daughter was having a baby. Of course, I had guilt and shame from the mom that I was before. So I'm trying my hardest to do everything for her and show her, hey, you're the most important person to me right now, which left him. In the wind, it wasn't healthy for our marriage and our relationship.
Yeah, see, that's where relationships are different. I see it like that. I mean, I didn't feel like she left me and went, but there was a lot of things going on, and we went through the relapses, split up. She's over here, I'm over here, did things we're not proud of, and everybody hopped on the day. Well, told you. I mean, Teen Challenge people, I hate to say it, other people told you guys it wasn't going to work. What made you think you two were going to be able to work this out? You ain't ever had a relationship that lasts long if you don't run around that crazy, and you ain't either. You're this, and you know what I mean? And
so they waited for y'all to fail.
Yeah, buddy. So listen to this.
Absolutely.
We had divorce papers. I had divorce papers sitting on a thing. I was like, man, I should just sign these papers, man. Get rid of them. And like I said, both of us said, even in our marriage, we'd been split up. We did things we ain't proud of with other people and whatnot. And I looked at it and I said, I ain't gonna be a statistic. I'm gonna prove everybody wrong, because I fought for people that I didn't love half as much as I love her. I ain't gonna do it. And I'll tell you what, my man, we jumped into some counseling. We go to counseling. I'm paying this counselor to tell me how screwed up I am. I was beat him up one day. He'd come in there and she kicked his chair over. We went to one counselor, Chad. Listen to this. We went in. He's sitting there with his clipboard, and we start telling him, and all of a sudden the mother F's start coming out, and he's a Christian counselor. You mother cheating, mother lying, mother.
Because I can't.
He looks at us like this. He looks down like this. Here's somebody you could call.
What made him so mad? What did y'all say that made him so mad?
Well, he was scared for his life, I think, because chairs were flying and me and her.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, like, we were like angry people, and we got it. And then so we went through a couple counselors till we finally got one, and he knew how to work us, man. And he was a good old country boy, man. And he was he was amazing, man. I called him Cookie. His last name was Cook, but and man, we got in touch with 8-year-old little Dave. And little Jonna, right? 8-year-old little Dave had to get in touch with, right? And because everybody has something what they call resilience. And if you see somebody a lot of times battle with drug addiction, I'm talking to myself, I can only go so far on my own resilience, right? And when resilience goes down is when you're tired, when stuff don't go your way, you think somebody's out for you. They're supposed to be your boy and they don't do this. And so in marriage or relationships, you got to learn when somebody's resilience is down. Anyway, we went through counseling, bro. We jumped in and we were statistic. And man, if you'd have told me that she would work with me every day we work together. If it's music, if it's pool tables, if it's running the kids here, if it's this, we are not apart very seldom, except when she's getting her eyelashes and her nails done or something like that. She goes, we are together. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Don't get me wrong. First 2 years, we didn't know we was but what you learn to adjust is when to be this way and when not to be that way. And truly, man, marriage gets a bum rap sometimes. You don't love them, find somebody else, And without her, man, I'd be dead probably. I'd have kept on going. I mean, and vice versa. Yeah. And her brother said something to us, man. He said, when you guys are, and my father-in-law said it too, when you guys are on and good, you bring out the best in each other. And man, we ain't perfect, bro. We still got problems. We still argue. We still got kids that are doing things. Some of my kids, you know, this and this, and we have arguments and falls. But I'm telling you, overall, it's my best friend. I don't go nowhere without her. And that's how she started rapping, my man.
She's just fixing to ask that.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's how it is. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, my music, I started doing music at a very young age, 13, 14, right? And I won a poem contest at a Christian school, Go Light the World. I wrote a short novel that was in Detroit that was like in this book that's through grade schools. You know, it's kind of, I kind of stole it from the Outsiders, but I kind of put my own flip in it. Stay gold, pony boy. Yeah, but and I kind of flipped it and did it. But anyway, so I always had a knack. I'd be in trouble and I'd write my mom a poem or something, you know. And I just started doing music. I started doing the Christian thing, rapping, trying to tell people hope. And I told you this off camera, man. I was rapping about trailers and Keith Whitley long before I had ever heard anybody else do it. But it was in a Christian realm, and people didn't know what to do with me in the early 90s to do that. So I had a little bit of longevity doing that, and then I'd be on and off, on and off, on and off. I lived in Detroit. I lived in, you know, Illinois. I lived in Tennessee, and it just built my music, man. Like I said, I kind of you know, followed you guys here. I told you off camera, you know what I mean, from the early Stack stuff to Car Full of White Boys, man, to, you know what I mean, to The Hate Goes On, to your stuff, Bravo, Lex. You look like, oh, I'm being home. I got these depends on. Yeah, Mr. Down South, you know, Worm, R.I.P., bro. Daddy hold a big.
You would do your videos with Jelly Roll.
Yeah, man.
Like, I mean, who the hell are these people?
But Daddy holds a big banana, right? Like, you notice I won't know the sound, but I know the lyrics, right? I know if you hear me start to tell a song, I know the lyrics. I listen to it.
The Get Back song.
Yeah, I get that song. You know what I mean? And but even before that, you know what I mean too. So I always kind of had a tie to my music. I was like, and when it started, you started seeing people really do it, man. You know what I mean? I guess I was doing what I was supposed to do. Like, you're supposed to rap. If rims and gold teeth are popular, that's what you're supposed to do, right? You know what I mean? To rap about it and this, because I did a song. It's called "I'm Doing Me," and this was I wrote this song in 1990. I don't know when, man, early 90s, but I re-recorded it in 2009, and Wee Wee made the beat. Actually, for that song, for that song, he actually did. I reached out to him, and I did a hip hop, country rap song, but it had a Christian twist. And now there's dudes doing it all over the place, even with the faith based stuff. Mm-hmm. It's starting to become a thing too. But then I remember I rapped at an event, and they were all like, "Well, that was probably the stupidest thing I've ever heard of in my life," right? Because everybody else was there like, that was like that era. That was like 2010, and you know, it was like battle rapping. Nobody was wanting to hear me talk about Jesus in a trailer, and so I did it for a while, and I had some, you know, things. I was traveling, going to a lot of churches. Me and her together, so she would share her thing, and we'd go to not even churches, we'd go to drug facilities, kids, you know, tell about drugs and our thing, and I'd do some songs. Well, we were at a place, and I needed a hype man, you know. I was weighing about 100 pounds more than I am now, and I would be out of breath, bro. I wasn't out, and I was like, I need a hype man, and she knew all the songs. Well, she got up there and kind of did it with me, and everybody loved it, and so we were like, oh, that was cool, and then we relapsed. Again, you know,
what time?
That was like what we're talking about, where we were going to get divorced, because we had, like I said, we had parts we would do good. So I just quit doing music. I'm like, I'm old anyway, man. You know what I mean? What am I do this for? And then people would say, hey, Doughboy, why don't you come and share you and your wife, you share your testimony, man, and tell them, you know, do a couple songs. And I'd go do that here and there, but I wasn't serious about it. Well, in 2000, almost 4 years ago now, bass hit 3 years ago.
No, that wasn't even. It was 3
years ago. I started working on this beat. The guy I know had the beat, and I started writing a song to it. And I told her, I said, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to record a music video and just do songs. And whoever likes them, and just tell our story, because it was therapeutic. Yeah. I run a business. We're busy, man. You know what I mean? We work a lot of hours. And we did it, and it took off a little bit. And then all of a sudden, people started going, "Are you the Doughboy?" And then we did another one, but she was rapping in it. This first time she'd ever rapped, right? She's rapping in it. and was pretty good. You know, everybody's like, oh man, you just started rapping. And then it started going. And then I was like, you know what? If I want to write about being country and hip hop, I'm just going to write about it. If I want to write about drugs, I'm going to write about it. If I want to write about following dreams with my buddy Mark Bell, I love you, Mark, who's a country singer, real outlaw country.
That's a dope song,
I'm going to do it. And it tells a story from felony stops to God back on top. You married a dream.
That's the one y'all are leaving and like your pot. Like,
the guy's up. He's like, hey guys, you forgot the gas can, right? Yeah. And it's a country rap love song, right? And so, and then the next one you might just get a bass banger, right? This girl loves bass. She's from Florida, Miami, the bass sound, right? Yeah. So, and it just started, you know what I mean? And then our subs started growing, and we started getting views, and then we got to go on a little tour, and I remember a guy, she had never rapped live like where she's rapping live. We did it here in Nashville at a thing called The Objective, where there's judges watching you. And some of them were some big name people, you know what I mean? Like seen some notoriety, some in the Christian world, but some in the you know, the music business. And she was so nervous. I was nervous too. And it's a you know, because anytime you're gonna get critiqued, man, I can go watch them build a Mercedes Benz and point out stuff they're doing wrong, right? You know what I mean? Yeah. And I go, just get up there and just do it, act like we're doing it. And we got up there, man, and you know, we did a pretty good song set, man. We're not that great. I mean, I don't want to dog my music. I call myself a quarter of a rapper. I never am a big fan of my music whatsoever. I'm the hardest. I don't like to self-promote myself, tell people to listen to it. You know what I mean? I'll promote you quick, but I'm not quick on me. Yeah. But we'll rock. We'll turn the show out though. You know what I mean? Like we'll rock. We bring the energy when we come, right? She did that live there, bro, and was like, we got like all 8s and 9s, and they wrote good reviews. And then she goes, I'm a rapper, right? You know? Mm-hmm. And so then she started taking it more serious, man, and brings us up to date.
Yeah, he taught me to run and gun. And I just remember before I got on that stage, oh my God, I couldn't even remember my words. I was like, I'm going to screw this up for him. This is a big shot. And as soon as my Jordan hit that stage, bang.
She was gone. I said, run and gun. Don't talk rap, you know? And so we started doing that. We got to go on the Extreme Tour, going to, sometimes there'd be 20 people, sometimes there'd be 100. But it's cool, but never about it where we're at now. And, you know, we just did the song, Oh Lord, you know? It's getting some views on it. And we're like, hey, all right. People are reaching out, you know what I mean? And you get some people adding us and being on there, and I think they're like, okay, what they're doing is cool. It's different. I don't get it. Not that we're reinventing the wheel or anything. There's other people that are doing it. Take Bravo and Savannah. I mean, that's best thing in the world, man. I can't be more happy. And the funny thing is, I met Bravo in 2009 or 10 at a Plato's Closet in Florida.
Oh wow!
He was in his Charger, and I don't even know if you remember this, Bobby, and me and him that's an intelligent dude, bro. Yeah, he speaks all kinds of languages. He knows the Bible, the Quran, and he wasn't it where he is now. He was at a place in his life then too, and so was I. Yeah. And I remember me and him had some long phone conversations. Like, so I don't know if he knows if he remembers that, man. You know what I mean? But and talked and had some good conversations. So I always was kind of rooting for him in the background. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm just really happy for what I see them doing. So power couples like that and us, and we're not trying to be in anybody's lane. We don't dog anybody. We don't. If they don't do it, they do it different than us. I'm not here to tell everybody, hey, we're the best rapper and I'm gonna spit bars and dog you out. I'm gonna lift you up. I'll share your stuff, bro. I ain't got no problem with that, man. You know, we're just out here saying you can go through this, and you can go through this, and you can have integrity and stay beside your convictions and still make some good music.
No, for sure.
And give hope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But.
So, let's talk about Relentless Hope.
Okay.
When did that become? When y'all started doing music together?
Yeah, when we started being together, man, it was like this.
I was like, what are we in college?
It kind of came off, you know, there was a dear pastor friend of ours, Pastor Michelle, who helped save our marriage, bro. Mm-hmm. Like, she's like, if you guys just get it, you know what I mean? And we fought for our marriage, bro. We eliminated anybody who wasn't Dave and Jonna. You got eliminated from our relationship. You know, you were talking earlier about messages and stuff. You know, we live in a crazy world where everybody's accessible. You know what I mean? Yeah. And we don't play with that, man. My son runs my social media. You know what I mean? Like, because we've been down that road, and this is my number one most important human relationship in the world. Mm-hmm. Not my kids, her. Mm-hmm. Me making her happy, seeing what she's doing. And going in, I said something about DDP for, you know, I had to tell her and apologize because we lost everything in the hurricane. Hurricane Ian came through and we lost our whole house. We were in
Y'all
Tennessee.
did the song.
Yeah, Florida
We
Strong.
lost
We were
everything.
doing concerts for youth groups in Chapel Hill, Tennessee. We wasn't even there when the hurricane happened. We were already up here, and we went back, bro. And I mean, we didn't have shoes. I had Jordans, and I mean, we lost a lot of stuff. Pool tables,
Kids
our
lost
beds.
everything.
We have a home, man, and you know, and we were. It's all about relentless hope, bro. Like it all starts with a little bit of hope, but sometimes you got to be relentless with it. And that was in my drug addiction. That's been in changing my mindset. That's been in my marriage and my music.
Yeah.
And so Relentless Hope, that's kind of where we came up with the names. Like, we're going to give hope. Even in our logo and this anchor, man, when I look at his logo, it's like how serious I have to be anchored in trying to be the best David every day, right? And so went through we started the Relentless Hope music. We were doing good. And the hurricane, you know, we were doing a little traveling, and our bass hit song hit 100,000 views. We were like, whoa, wait a minute. People were like contacting us, you know, and we are like, okay, we're going to go here and rap and getting a little, you know, people liking it. And the hurricane shook us, bro. And I've been through a lot of things in my 50 years of life. That was the one time in my life, I don't care how much money you had in the bank in Southwest Florida, didn't have no house. And I had 3 kids and a wife and dogs. And I don't know, we had to sleep on my shop floor. We didn't know where we were going to live, my man. And we bounced back, bro. But I went into a depression of not drugs, but of food, man. And I gained up. I was 345, I think. Yeah, almost 350. And I couldn't put my shoes on, bro. And I had a heart attack in 2018. I snorted a lot of blow and stroke. I had a stroke and a heart attack. That's kind of what led to me getting sober too. Obviously, I'm gonna die. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I couldn't breathe, putting my shoes on. I told her, I said, how am I gonna stand on a stage and tell somebody they can have hope and I can't control what I put in the middle of my mouth? Right? That's what I said about myself, you know? And I went on DDP, bro. DDPY Yoga, man. Our name was Relentless Hope, and the name of his documentary is Relentless. And it kept popping up, and I watched it. I was always a wrestling fan. I love DDP, Jake the Snake, everything.
I'm diehard wrestling.
Yeah. So the resurrection of Jake the Snake and Relentless, we watched both of them one night. I said, we're signing up tomorrow. And we signed up, bro, and now it's been over a year. I lost 106 pounds, bro. I'm 50. I feel better at 50 than I did 30. My body, bro, I still got about 40 more I want to get. I've had the opportunity to meet DDP. We went to his Christmas party. We went up and worked out.
Oh, dope.
Oh, yeah, man. His wife, Paige, we love Paigey. She had a Relentless Hope on at the last workout, rocking the shirt. Josh, who I don't know if you've seen the new Butterbean video. Oh man, you gotta watch it. Okay. Butterbean, we got to meet Butterbean, man. You know, he's changed his whole life walking, bro, and everything. And anyway, I say that it just went hand in hand with what we're doing. It's like we're sober, we're healthy, and we got up this morning, you know, went and worked out this morning and did a DDP and went and worked out because why? Because I want to do mental setups, man. And that's what keeps us, you know. I love Jesus, man. Jesus changed my life, and some of my Christian brothers might get mad at me, but just going to church and Jesus didn't keep me sober, because I'd have been sober a long time ago. Yeah. What got me sober was when I worked on my mind and my mental health. Yeah. My mental health, and dealt with problems, assessed them, and then changed. And you know what I mean? So, you know, I wake up every morning, I do my meditation, read the Bible, I read a positive book. I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, no alarm clock. She'll tell you that's no lie.
And then full conversations.
And then I get her going, and then she gets up, and I'm thinking what our next plan is. Yeah. And that song, "Oh Lord," with that truck on there, I got the pedal to the gas, just like you. Yep. And you know, man, I commend you, bro.
Thank you, man.
And this is just me, man. And I'm a sentimental dude, and I'll keep it real as it is. You do a lot for people's careers over the years. And I've always, like I said, you know, off the camera, I'm tied to Nashville because I was born here. And seeing, you know, Jelly, man, how awesome is that? I used to play them songs, and she'd be like, what is this? She's like, who? Because she's like used to rap. I'm like, you never heard these dudes, man? You know what I mean? And when we got together, because that was part of and this is before you could just go on anywhere, you know what I mean, and get it, you know what I mean? You had to, or you try to get mixtapes. I got cousins in here and stuff. I'd be like, hey, if you see, and it'll grab a couple of those, I'll get them for you, mail them to me right there, you know.
So let's get back to that. So the Relentless, that's where
that came from, the Relentless Hope, and that's where we started on the music, and then going through this last year.
You've been clean.
6
five,
years.
Almost 6 years. 5.5 years.
Almost 6 years, man.
And this is the longest
I've ever been in my life.
Yeah.
In life.
Have ever been clean. Yeah.
Might do a year, not good. 6 months, not good. 3 months, not good. this is the longest. And it goes back to the mental health thing, man. Like, you know, just
getting your mind
it's
right.
we live in, so, you know, I got kids, man. I got them from 33 to 12, bro, and it's just, we're losing this fight, man.
Yeah,
we ain't doing what we're supposed to do, you know.
Yeah.
So that's where Relentless Hope is, man.
Yeah.
The hope music. We just want to. DDP said it, man.
And we had a lot of things in this 5.5 years where really we knew this is where the rubber meets the road. You know, we either were going to do it or we weren't going to do it. We had custody battles. We had.
Oh man, we went hurricane. We went.
Had
If I was
custody
going to get drunk, I'd have done got drunk.
The hurricane. So it was like we knew either we were going to be down for each other and we were going to do whatever needed to be done. Meaning like starting our business all over. We came back from Spring Hill, Tennessee. Had to start our business all over.
Moved
for
here.
Custody battles.
We were here when the tornado happened and COVID.
And it was just him and I moving pool tables.
Moving pool tables in Tennessee, Bo. And what they don't understand, like Florida, it's like you drive here straight. Tennessee's like, oh, it's only 5 miles. Yeah, over the mountain, through the holler, down the thing. I backed it in there, you know. And but you know, I was going to say DDP said it the best. Hope's not a fad. Yeah. It's not going to go out of style. I don't care if you're Buddhist, monk, Jesus, whatever. We all need hope, and we need it in the world more than ever right now, man. So our music takes a different route. I'm not going to dog nobody. You know what you mean? I mean, obviously, when we write, we do whatever. But you'll hear me say haters can, you know, we got haters, man. As anybody does. A lot of people from our past life want to say, oh, they don't live like, you know, all this.
There's people that don't understand.
Yeah, but we're going to keep making music, man, and people are going.
You like it,
you like it. If not, skip it. You know,
yeah,
but we love everybody, bro. We're just trying to do it. But Chad, what I was saying is, I want to give you your flowers personally because she'll tell you, bro. I've watched more of the Jelly and Worm show. I've watched you. You know, you driving them to probation. You know, I watched. You know, all the 10-minute, the famous freestyle. I watched you film stuff. I watched you do your music. All the different things, man. And now what you do for people and how you share it, man. And you know, don't ever sell yourself short, brother, because you're right there and you're on the edge. And if you don't realize it, a lot of people in this genre just to say, as I show you, I'm 50 and I got hair, but people should say, hey, Chad Armes,
thank you,
you make it, even come here, spend the afternoon, us talk the ear off. You know what I mean? Like,
no, for sure.
You talk his ear off.
You were talking his ear off.
Son?
Man, this has been really cool, man. I'm glad that y'all was able to tell y'all's story to the ChadArmesTV listeners and viewers, and hopefully I know that it'll affect people positively.
Yes.
Yeah.
But just outside of the music, just y'all's whole message and story is motivational because it shows that you can go through a S-word storm.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can go through a turd storm your whole life and still bounce back from it. It's never too late.
No,
you know, man, to change.
Never, man, never. And it's not how you start the race; it's how you finish it, man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's whether music, business, parenthood, marriage, relationship, moms, dad. You know what I mean? It's not how you start it; it's how you finish it, man. And I'm gonna, you know, I did a lot of bad things in my life, man. A lot of stuff I'm not proud of, but you know. I don't really spend much time in the past, man. I look towards the future and see if I can save a young dude from going through it. You know what I mean? You know, most of our fans, and I don't call them fans because it's hard for me to think anybody would, you know, but you get me a 35-year-old dude coming off heroin that ain't got to see his kids. He feels what I'm saying when we talk to him and when we play it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's my people. You know, she's got a part in the song where she says, not the most views, but we're seeing some growth. But she's like, you know, this is for the moms that got
hooked on the dope, living in the trap house, won't let that needle go.
Yeah, no, that's the crowd you see when you see Relentless Hope. Not the most views, but we're seeing some growth. Because I do it for the souls. Don't get me wrong, man. If somebody wants to send a check, you know what I mean?
Of course.
But that's not my overall goal, man.
Right.
My overall goal is to tell a story, and hopefully I can help one person, man. Yeah. Right?
That's awesome.
And I got a hot girl out of the deal, right?
Well, I'm proud of y'all, man. I'm glad that we was able to do this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And well, I'm sure we'll be working more in the future, but y'all be sure to subscribe to them on YouTube. The link will be in the description. We'll also put their social media links. Y'all's website, if y'all want, people want to, if y'all got merch or anything.
Yeah. The new F Fentanyl shirt. We've been selling a lot of them. All of them goes to a local, when we sell them to a local place that helps people getting off fentanyl and stuff.
Awesome, man.
And we took some hits on it from because it says F Asterisk.
Yeah.
You can call it flip. You can call I got another word that I say by it, but I won't use it because I'm a
I'm gonna
Christian.
tell you too why we're so passionate about it. My
Yeah.
27-year-old daughter is hooked on fentanyl.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's super important to me, and I really don't care. People don't understand it. It's important.
We
It's a
take
big
it serious, bro.
Absolutely.
It's more than when we're rapping that and when we're saying it. It's because we're living it, bro. You know what I mean? And so we so yeah, we'll have the link in there. You can go buy the.
for sure.
We got merchandise on there, dope hats, bro. We don't send out junk hats either, man. We like
for
sure. Good hats, bro. You know.
Well, me at some point, maybe in the next couple of months, me and Mel will have to come down there and visit.
Bro.
Shout out to Mel.
Mel. I'm not gonna meet you. I talked Chad's ear off. I love him. But she was hoping you were coming.
Yes.
She did buy you a Coke and some other
Yes.
stuff. Now if Chad drinks it on the way home, that's on up to him.
that's all
And then stuff. But so yeah, you guys come down, bro.
Absolutely, love it.
We'll get you a good little spot there, and you can come down and do some Florida stuff. And that, and we mean that.
Yeah,
Awesome,
for real.
man. Well, thank y'all again so much.
Oh man,
Thank you for having us.
For sure, man.
Thank you guys for listening.
Absolutely. Relentless Hope, ChadArmesTV. Y'all be sure to subscribe, man.
Check it out.